Good afternoon. All right. All right. Should we start? Yeah. It's fine. All right. Let's go. Hello. Good morning. Good afternoon, and good evening to the Desi Sportscast Football Show with Nevin and myself. And it's a warm good afternoon to Nevin. Hello. How are you today, my friend? Well, I beg to differ today, my friend, because it is very warm today. It's not often I can say that, and it's been a long time since I have said it. But as you know, Leicester's always beautiful. But today the sun is shining, and it's a very big day for the city, and I'm sure we'll talk about that before. So it's really nice to say it's a beautiful day outside here. I'm sorry it's raining here, so this situation is slightly changed because what we've talked about previously about what you look outside your window and what I look outside your window. You do? So how's your week been, my friend?
What is happening with the country, with the COVID virus, are really hitting us hard. That way, it's been a little depressing to go through social media. If I may call out, I think the lack of political will from all parties and all rotations. It's just been very um, staggeringly bad in that respect. But I've just been trying to look at the positives.
Yeah, it is shocking the way it's turned and gone back to worse than it's ever been. In fact, worse than I think the first wave, and it's frightening as well when you see the numbers. And we've talked about this for over a year now, and I thought certainly in England we have turned the corner. And you have to say one of the very few things the government here has got right has been the vaccination program and the way they've handled the latest lockdown and the openings up seem to be working, and our figures are going back to what they were after the first lockdown, and we're going the right way. And one of the signs being there's going to be fans at the semi-final today, and like I said, we'll talk about that later. But that's a totally different picture to where you are. I mean, this is a football show, but we can't deny what's happening around us. Why has it gone so badly?
Um, I mean, you and I know the answer. We had an entire year to prepare up our infrastructure, up the number of beds, really prepare for the vaccine. And yet it was a lot of PR gimmick saying we've fought Corona, we are this, we are that. The truth is we've done nothing. Nothing has changed. I have friends who are doctors and they are on the verge of crying. They're like, if only they cared. That's the question they keep asking. If only they cared about us. If only they knew the kind of stress that we go through, the phone constantly buzzing for help, the helplessness of doctors, no oxygen, no medicine, no ventilator. It's just I lost a relative very in the last few days, and
Oh, I'm so sorry.
he was admitted that day morning, and he lost his life in the evening. So it's that crazy, and unfortunately, we can't even visit him because of the restrictions, and everybody's just scared about what's going on. And yet, you can't go and see your relative, but yet you have the prime minister of the country, the home minister, opposition parties all holding massive, massive rallies across the country, allowing religious gatherings of huge numbers.
I can't.
And I'm just not saying about Kumbh Mela. It's happening here in Kerala as well. We have a Trishul Puram, which is also a massive festival. Everything is going on. People are. I have no idea what is going on. Really, it feels like Will Smith's movie that I Am Legend. I
Yeah,
feel like some of us are trapped in this house and the rest of us are unaware of what is happening. It's
yeah.
very
Uh,
important.
Well, I want to mention the Kumbh Mela, and this is going to be controversial, but I saw the pictures and they were frightening. They were frightening when you see what's happening, or what was the trend and for that event to be allowed to happen, you know, religion plays a big part back home, I know, but life surely life is more important. That you can do the Kumbh Mela next year in a safe environment. I'm not sure about what's happening in other places. I didn't know about the festival in your state, but yeah, it's just like it's a free for all at the moment, it seems, and it's disappointing, very very disappointing. Especially like I said, just to share where we are. Is totally opposite. We'll talk about that. Let's talk about more pleasant things. And I want to start off by saying, take a bow, Dheeraj. What a performance yesterday. And I don't want to start by saying that to say it was all defensive, backs to the wall, goalkeeper, but really amazing performance yesterday in the game.
And I'm one of those few people who have been very critical of Dheeraj. I've never rated him as one of the best in the country. Like a lot of people keep giving him chances, and I always thought, he's okay with the short stopping, but not necessarily the most commanding inside the box or in terms of distribution. But it's something that FC Goa does so well. They get players and they improve them, and it's good to see Dheeraj has also got this confidence back. Another player that I have to talk about is Glenn. Glenn Martins was
Yes.
somebody who, like, nobody. I mean, ATK didn't want him. They just traded him off for Lenny, and he was all over the pitch, and he plays with a heart on his sleeves, and amazing. I don't think there is any Goan player, including the foreigners, who we can say didn't perform. They
Mm.
all were in it. They were all willing to slog. They were all part of one unit. And credits to the coach, credits to the management, and this is the reason why I think as neutrals we all love FC Goa. It's this team spirit that they've cultivated with limited resources. It's not one of the most flashy teams that spend a lot of money and get the right players. They've been very clever with their resources, and they've built a very strong team.
Yeah, and I think you're quite right to say all the players rose to the occasion. That it was a Champions League, a continental, the top trophy in the continent, and the way they performed in both the games so far have been, incredible to watch and really good to watch. Being fans of Indian football, and two players you mentioned, I brought up Dheeraj obviously before the performance yesterday, and he really did save a late winner for the UAE club. But Glenn Martins as well. I mean, we covered the ISL, and I felt, why haven't I mentioned this player? Why haven't I asked Nevin about this player? Because his performances have been incredible. I mean, he's playing against top level continental teams, and he stood out.
I
Why did
think I think he came back to Goa from ATK as a man who's motivated, because even when the trade-off had happened, when Lenny went to ATK and Clan came to FC Goa, FC Goa went ahead and bought Amarjit, and Amarjit has been touted as the next big center midfielder from India. So even Sunil Chetri, I remember at the Intercontinental Cup asking him to leave the Viking club. So everybody thought Amarjit was the successor to Lenny's role in that FC Goa side. But plan is like, hello, this is my home team. I am a Goan. I've got my abilities. And most importantly, and I think we've discussed this so many times here, he typifies, I think, what Indian footballers do best: work, 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 work. I think that's our key strength. Our players not really, upset with having to work throughout the game, and he is that kind of player. He puts in a lot of work, a lot of tackles. I think, I don't know. So many times you would think the opposition has got a good chance and they're going to score a goal, and suddenly Glenn's leg come out of nowhere, and this one small touch that takes the ball away, and I thought he was making a lot of positive runs forward as well.
Mm.
I thought a few opportunities were missed. He made the runs, but they couldn't thread the right passes to him. So complete box to box midfielder, and I hope everybody's watching, and I hope everybody's watching and saying, hey, FC Goa were very clever. Look at the players they've managed to get in the winter transfer window. They got Dheeraj, they got Glan, they got Amarjit. It's like they improved the team in a winter transfer window. Very clever work.
Yeah, because I remember when the transfer was done, the swap with ATK, and I was surprised that Goa let go of uh,
Lenny.
Lenny, and but you said it. This is a very well-run club by the looks of it. They've got good coaching staff and good backroom staff. Knowing what they're uh, doing and developing these players, because Diraj is a very young goalkeeper, and Glenn Martin's again. I think I'm not sure how old he is, but the performance is he's 25 as well. Is he 25? No, 26. So, a brilliant young prospect that wasn't even in our thoughts when we were playing the ISL, but he'll definitely be a player that I'll be looking for next season. But looking at both the games, what are your thoughts? I know we were talking during the first game and we shared our thoughts, but yeah, overall, both games, how do you think Goa performed?
We did discuss this in our last pod as well, right? We were like, I think I, I I was pretty confident of at least a good showing, because this is, I mean, like, again, going back to my previous point, I think this is how an Indian team is best suited to play football, to like really have a good shape, sit back, defend, counter. And I think with the kind of ability that FC Goa have at their disposal, I think this was bound to happen. I am a little upset, or not upset, of course. I'm a little surprised by the fact that the visiting teams didn't think of breaking that pattern a little. I don't know why they didn't try from long distance. I thought they should have been hitting that from a long distance and asking their forwards to charge, because our keepers don't really catch a lot of balls. So hit them on target and ask the forwards to run. So I thought, in terms of preparation, these other teams didn't really prepare, thinking, "Hey, this is going to be an easy, cakewalk for us." And probably they saw the national team play and thought, "Hey, this team is nowhere near our levels." So this is partly, the results are partly down to the lack of preparation from the other teams, but take nothing away from FC Goa. I thought they were really good in both matches, especially the second match. They could, I mean, one could argue that they deserved all 3 points as well. Created a lot of good chances, and this is without that fourth foreign player. This was 3+1, or a fifth foreign player in the team. So this is again, I think this is what we've all been crying out for, right? Everybody said the ISL standards going to go down if you take away another foreigner asset. They're playing really well in the Champions League. So, and it's become an opportunity to have the likes of Ishan Pandita and Devendra, all these Indian forwards to get go play an AFC match as well. So why aren't they playing in our domestic league? We need our forwards. We need Indians to be playing in that position. So, frankly speaking, it's not a big surprise, like we discussed in our last pod as well. I think there was a possibility we were all going to really sit and watch how FC Goa was going to line up. Were they going to go out thinking that this is Indian league and going to go all out attack? But they understood the competition, sat back, defended, and I have only praise for the team. I think they did really well.
100%. And I know in the last podcast, you did say, how you think they'll perform, and that's exactly how they did. They'll stand up. But I think quite rightly, you said that if Goa had won yesterday, it wouldn't have been unfair. I think it would have been a fair result if they got that goal and won the game yesterday. And because this is a very, very tough group, and you have to pay respect to the other three teams who've got a lot of experience in continental football, especially the Qatari and UAE team are funded, as you would expect them to be, and the Iranian club has got an incredible record in continental clubs. So this is a very tough group, and Goa did play to their strengths, really. But you have to also say that it wasn't a back to wall sort of performance, and it just highlighted, when the national team got that 0-0 away to Qatar, it was very much a back to wall sort of performance. But this wasn't. You can't say this about both the games, really. Goa did have their chances.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think again we discussed about Iceland last time around, and
Yeah.
Wales and clubs like that, teams like that. I think India needs to embrace that. I feel that's not a bad way of playing football.
No.
To be really organized, to really have a good counter-attacking plan, to really counter them with pace. I was so impressed with the likes of Brandon as well. He was
Mm,
so confident on the ball. He wasn't really getting, worried about a foreign player rushing towards him. He kept the ball with him, looked for the right passes. Seritin, another stellar performance from the right back position. I think he was there from last ditch tackle to making 100-meter sprints to the other side. So so many positives, and I think this when you say when you talk about being defensively organized, it's not necessarily just parking the bus and just thwarting whatever comes your way, right? You
mm,
can be defensively organized and still play football. That is to really have a good organization in your defensive half, a lot of passes, triangles being formed, people opening up spaces. It's not just putting two layers of men and just hitting whatever comes their way. So I think that is what I'm trying to hope, and that's what I think Goa did. Goa didn't like just put like two layers because they understood by doing that there is no way you can stop a quality team. So
yeah.
they understood they have to play their football, and this is a football that Goa can play. They are good with the ball, especially in India. I think they're the best when it comes to really keeping the ball and keeping the possession. So they relied on their strength, tried to hit on the counter, and yeah, maybe things could have changed here and there, and Goa could have easily had 3 points yesterday
Mm,
as well.
yeah, and the other thing that was really good to see that all the players were comfortable on the ball. It wasn't as if there were bad passes going or they were panicking when they had the ball. It was different to watching the national team play, especially in the second friendly, and to a certain extent in the first friendly as well against Oman. That was really good to see.
I think it's a I think it's a fact that the team is they're playing together as a team. They care about each other, and even when you saw a couple of players making mistakes, I thought that last save by Dheeraj was induced by the fact that Xavier Gama made a mistake in the left back position, he gave away the ball cheaply, and I was looking for immediate reaction. Are they going to like really go and scream at Gama? But no, they're all like just let's do this. Let's keep playing. And these are things, especially I mean, these are things that I really miss noting from the stand. It's been a while since I got to see like a proper football match. But I mean, actually no, I did see a couple of Kerala Premier League matches, but like the ISL levels, for example, I do miss observing these little things, and luckily you could see it on your TV about how the players reacted to these kind of mistakes, and they were really in it as a team. I think that's the point I want to highlight. This wasn't this wasn't just an individual performance from somebody or a lucky draw or something. This was a well trained squad playing to their fullness and playing to their coaches' plans. I think I can like I said earlier. I think it's just only praise for Goa. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that we're going to win the AFC Champions League. But this is the only way forward, and I hope every other team is watching. Everybody else is thinking, hey, this is probably how we want to organize our football teams as well.
You think Coach Timac was watching and learning, maybe?
I don't think so. I don't think even I want to go there because
Don't chop and change. Stick to your
yeah, don't
strengths.
chop and change and stick to what they know best.
Mm.
That's more important. Right?
I think this highlighted, and we talked about it in the last podcast, the disappointment of the two friendlies and the way the coaches just not settling into a 11. You highlighted the fact that the team was playing for Goa was playing for each other. All the players were supporting each other. They're comfortable with each other, and it just highlighted the differences to the national team.
Sorry, you were asking me a question.
Yeah, I was just saying the difference between
Yeah,
the way the
yeah,
Goa played,
exactly. Yeah.
and it just makes you think that we
Yeah, I think this is what we discussed last time around as well. I mean, nobody knows what is going on. Why are you doing? Why is he doing this? I think it's just. I hope we find a window for the national team to spend some time together, figure out what they want to do, and I hope it's again not like a 2 week camp or like a week long camp, and then you prepare for for an international match because right now, I think the team is all over the place. It really lacks an identity. Nobody knows what is the plan. like we said in our last few podcasts as well, I think at least Constantine had a plan that was very clear, and the team just needed to execute that plan. With team match, nobody knows the plan, nobody knows the personnel. It's just a mess.
And I get the feeling that the ISL coaches, the foreign coaches, understand Indian football players, their strengths, and where their weaknesses are, and what they're able to do, and plan their team accordingly, more than Steamac, and it's becoming a lot more obvious.
I mean, he's a foreign coach himself, so like there is no hard and fast rule to like what happens best or whatever. But like, um, if Khalid Jamil is being going to be jobless and if Northeast United is going to appoint a different manager, I hope he's being considered for the national team as well. Because you need such characters, I feel. You need somebody to stay long, understand football, understand where these players come from. Sometimes even an information about a player's background, his social background, his cultural background, can also add value. Because something like, does he know that Suseraj comes from a certain space like this? Does he know that say Utanta comes from a particular space? Because they all bring a certain culture of football. They're all representing a part and a kind of football, and that helps as a coach to know what you can hope and what you can get from that player. So um, I think it's high time we trust in an Indian. I mean, we trust our women's team with an Indian coach. Why not give our men's team as well an Indian
But I think
coach?
you have to give credit to the likes of Coach Libero, Coach Ferrando, even Coach Habas, that they seem to get it because they're spending that much time with the players and getting to understand them.
And it's also, I think, the quality of the coach as well, right? Sometimes coaches are good enough to train the players in their way.
Mhm.
Then they come and they're like, hey, this player is lacking this. I'm going to get the coaching staff to work on it and improve because this is the kind of football I want. I think with Lovera especially, he changed footballers. He's like, hey, this is not the kind of football I want you to play. I want you to do this. I want you to do that. And so it's also different coaching methods, I think. So if you aren't that kind of a coach, that's fine because not all coaches are meant to be great trainers as well. But then at least identify the best players that suit your tactics and make a tactic that will work. That's also important.
Yeah, and just going back to Goa, they got one more game, but do you think they've already, performed well, better than expectations? I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, of
I
course.
think they've
Because the
done us proud.
expectation was 0 points. So
Yeah,
definitely exceeded expectations. But now I think if you see the reactions in the two matches itself, the first match, I think 30 minutes, 40 minutes, we're all tweeting, yes, 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 please do this, please continue, please continue. The next match, we were all like, let's just watch because maybe we can win this. Everybody's like, score a goal, please
yeah.
convert.
Well,
So
Brandon
even
hit
the
the post, didn't
tone,
he?
yeah. So the tone has also changed. The expectation also grows. I hope people understand the next team they're facing isn't a walkover by
I
any
think that
chance.
although Persepolis of Iran came through the playoffs, I think they are the toughest team. Like I said, they've got a really good track
But you know
record.
what? Again, and they've been really agitated with the COVID protocols, a lot of things not being in proper in India, and their fans have been calling out. So there is some sense of anger and agitation within the squad. And also, let's not forget that India's humid conditions are very difficult for footballers to adapt to. So if you're coming from a space like say Iran or any of these countries, it's not going to be easy playing football here. So
Mm.
maybe out of maybe there is a chance that we can come away with a result as well.
I think if they can come out with a draw, that'll be the best result out of all three.
Of course, hands down,
Yeah,
because of who they are and what they are for the tournament.
yeah.
So hence, yeah, definitely.
But it's not often you can say that, you can be proud of an Indian football team in continental football, but we can certainly be proud of Goa, the way they performed this week. They've done the nation proud, and obviously with one game to go, they're in contention, which we didn't think might be possible. We were hoping, but it is possible now. And like you say, you never know what could happen in that one-off game this week. But the other team we have to talk about, and they did the job they had to do, was PFC. put away the Nepalese club quite comfortably, 5-0, I think it was. That is the way it should be against fellow SAF countries,
Yeah.
but it's not always the case. I mean,
I did watch the match. It wasn't the most easiest too because there was just one camera. But yeah, it was just a blitzkrieg. A lot of goals, and I think what 4 goals in 12 minutes or something like that. Once they found that they had their chances in the first half as well, PFC were the dominant side, and it was very clear from the offset. So um, this is what I'm trying to say. So if a BFC can do this, if a FC Goa can do this, why are we struggling against Bangladesh, against Afghanistan, and teams like that in FIFA qualification matches? So that is a worry, and that's what AFF is now non-existent. They take no blame when it comes to the leagues. They're like, we don't have any charge. It's the IMG, Incident Alliance, and the FST are doing it. For this, they'll be like, oh, we've got a coach, but we have no time. We have COVID, this, that. As if these things don't affect anybody else in this country or the world. So, I mean, I'm tired. Personally, I'm tired calling them out because we've been doing it for years now.
yeah.
But,
I'm not
but
tired because it's still new to me, but I know you're a warrior that's been in this battle for a long time, so I can imagine you being tired. But I think it was a good performance and where Indian football should be, that we should be dominating, whether it's at national team level or club level, against teams in our region.
And mind you, BFC is also another team that gets really excited about AFC tournaments. And their fans keep talking about it. Their management is excited about it. They want to play in AFC. I don't know. I don't know if it's just a sentimental value or the reach, or maybe it's got some marketing ups as well. Maybe their sponsors will pay double if they make it to the AFC tournaments. I don't know what is the reason, but they really care about their AFC tournaments. So they also tend to get the right signings on board, prepare the team for AFC. I know last year was a disappointment, but hopefully they can also put out a good performance in the cup.
And in the next round, they've got a club from Bangladesh, Yabani, or I think it's Eagles from the Maldives. You hear quite good things about Bangladeshi league football, so that might be a bit of a test for them. But they should again win
Abani tends
comfortably.
to get a lot of players from ISL. So if you look at Abani's team all the time, you will know at least 5 players who played in the Indian leagues as well. So sometimes we sign from Abani as well. So it's a team that really is on par with a lot of Indian football teams as well. So it'll be a close match. It won't be that easy.
Yeah, we'll see how BFC get on. But fair play to them; they did what they had to do in the first playoff round. But you mentioned it there about how difficult it was to watch BFC. I was again, you get fed up of talking about this. The coverage. It was so disappointing. Yesterday's was a little bit better than the first game in terms of the Goa game. But I was seeing the Twitter and some of the WhatsApp messages around how difficult it was to see the BFC game, and I don't know what you get. I know I said
I
earlier.
have no blame for BFC per se because they are not a broadcaster, so they did what they could from their end as a
No, but
club.
where's the federation again?
Was
Why aren't they insisting on the Star Football who've got the contract to say, well, put it on. You have to put it on. It's
Yeah,
part of the deal.
or put it up for grabs for anybody else who wants to do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't just sit on it. I'm not going to eat the grass, but I won't let the other cow also eat the grass. That's a sort of a
And this
horrible.
the Goa games were put on Star Sports 3. How does that rank in terms of channels in India? Is that something you get as a package, or something extra you have to buy?
Yeah,
Star Sports 3.
you get as a package, but it's not the greatest channel usually. I mean, it's usually it's a sideline channel, and a lot of us still. I mean, we take the web version called Hotstar. I think a lot of us watch it on Hotstar because it's just easier. But the stream kept going off in the first match, so
Yes.
it was so bad that I don't know if I can say it on air, but like I had to use another third-party link that I found online to watch the match properly, and that was seamless. So that means there was a proper broadcast going on. It just didn't really appear on Hotstar. So
Yeah.
very poor from them as well.
I don't know what as fans back home and those that follow Indian football. here can do about changing this mindset. I don't know what we can do, but it's ridiculous. And it was the same with the friendlies of the national team. Last minute decisions on broadcasting, and even then, yet it was Arabic commentary in some cases. Um, it just in this day and age, it's ridiculous. And I wish, as a fan base, we had more, things that we could do to change attitudes. But I don't know how. We'll have to some sort of have a huge forum of what we can do to change the way football is managed. But that's for another conversation. What is managed well is the Champions League here, because it was a strange day on Wednesday. Was it Wednesday, Thursday? I watched the Goa game against Al Ryan, and then straight away it was PSG against Bayern. A brilliant, brilliant game. One of the best games I've seen. Both legs, to be fair. Um, and Mbappe, he just keeps on. He's unbelievable. He's got to be by far number one player at the moment.
Yeah, yeah, hands down, just unstoppable. He's got raw pace. He's got dribbling. He's versatile. He can play on the right. He can play in the center. He can play on the left. It's just unbelievable talent. And I mean, and let's also not forget Neymar. I thought Neymar was exceptional as well. I thought a lot of people were again criticizing, saying he doesn't have the end product, and yeah, he's still a very he's more
He
of a.
dives too much for me. That overrides any talent he has.
I know, but like I don't know. Again, it'll go back to South American football and what they are. Do you not like Suarez? I love Suarez. I think he's one of the greatest, one of the best footballers in the last 10, 15 years. But yeah, what he does, beyond his football can be so irritating. And I hated him when he was playing at Liverpool. I thought he was so annoying. And that's the point, right? Sometimes footballers, I mean, not all footballers need to be nice and loved. Sometimes they need to be the more dirty ones. I wish Neymar was more dirtier in terms of his intent. He's just rolling around and not necessarily in his aggression on the pitch.
But you don't see that with Mbappe. That's my point. You can be an
I mean, you can
incredible player,
exist that way. I mean,
and
nobody is saying.
you've never seen that with Messi.
Messi, I think Messi can be annoying. I don't know. I think it's just it's a PR cultivated image that Messi is always nice and calm and all that. I think all these players lose their, even Ronaldo, all
Well,
of them.
it took Messi what 20 years before to get a red card or something ridiculous like that.
I mean, Messi is not a footballer. He's something else. It's unfair to compare it with other footballers. He's just exists in
No, but
his
in
own
terms
world.
of the temperament, I get what your point. They're very competitive, but in terms of how they.
No, I'm just saying you don't have to be say Suarez level, but there needs to be that extra aggression. If I'm signing a forward, I want somebody who will be willing to put his head when a goalkeeper is charging. That's the kind of striker, and you get that from some sort of sense of toughness, and you see that a peak Edison Cavani, for example, all of these people do it. I know Lewandowski is unbelievably nice, and he's super sweet, and he's smiling, and he's still as lethal as any of these other strikers. But I'm just saying the other will exist as well. It's not like a world where only nice people will play football and only niceness. And the fact that they are, you know, not so pleasant doesn't take away the fact that they are incredible footballers sometimes. I mean, did you like Gattuso as a player? He would, I mean,
No, but
I
his
think
role was different, wasn't it? He was an enforcer, so it comes with the role.
yeah, you can have an enforcer as a striker as well, if you ask me. Like it really depends on what the team wants to do. It's not just a center defensive midfielder's role to be mean and nasty or whatever. You
I
can do
think
that
there's
as a striker, as a winger, or whatever.
no, but I think there's a line between mean and nasty and
I'm telling you,
cheating.
Gattuso gets away because he is an Italian. And if he was from South America, you would see the media and everybody sitting on his head saying, "What a nasty player! He destroyed careers. He shouldn't be anywhere in the field," and things like that. So it's also sometimes overly romanticized when a certain kind of people do it. They're like super aggression, great mentality. But if it doesn't match with your sense of what is what is right and what is wrong on the pitch, then suddenly, especially the
Yeah,
Brits.
Well,
They
I
get
was going to say, I was just about to say that it might be a bit because of the environment I've been brought up in terms of the football here, where it is definitely frowned upon. Even if it's your own player in your own team diving, people will call him out, and we call it the European disease, not
like
not the
I was
South
watching
American
the
disease.
FA Cup. I was watching the FA Cup semi-final yesterday, and for the life of me, I didn't understand why Mason Mount was not falling because Fernandinho made two horrible
Yeah,
challenges.
yeah,
It
yeah.
was two yellow cards for me, and that's a red card. And if he was clever, I'm sure he should have just fallen and tumbled and
Well, if he was Neymar, he would have definitely fallen, screamed his head off, rolled around about 10 times. But that's the difference
no,
between
but
what is expected in
I
England.
love Mason Mount, but what if Fernandinho had scored a 92nd minute goal, and then you would have like he made two horrible challenges and he didn't even get a yellow card.
Yeah, yeah. No,
But
I take your
it's
point,
also
but
it's, it's also clever football, right? So, and these referees also, the moment the player doesn't fall, they don't card this, the perpetrator. So it's all very confusing. I think football gives us so many signals that sometimes I think you are also encouraged to hold because there's no other way. I used to feel really horrible for Eden Hazard. I think he constantly averaging
yeah,
around 15 fouls a match.
yeah, he was, yeah.
And yet, I mean, people would like accuse him if he's rolling, he's diving, he's jumping. I thought he was one of those players who didn't fall that often. And
No,
I
that's
was
fair.
like, I understand if I was in that position, I would roll around more because I need some protection. Because it's usually the 13th tackle that finally gets that player a yellow card. I mean, I'm not saying the player made 13 tackles, but overall the player, receiving it. For him, it's a 13th tackle or the 15th tackle that's eventually leading to a yellow card and some sense of protection. So
Yeah. No,
again, not justifying the ruling and Neymar does it too much. I agree all that, but sometimes you have to understand from the other side of it. I think football's become football's growing such a way that is no longer the 90s or 80s where you can tackle so much and get away with it. You have to be very clever. I think.
yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it's probably an English trait that's come into me. I just find it really annoying when players, and Neymar seems to be the one that we're talking about at the moment. But there's others that you just have to
Like
push them
like if
and
you
say,
ask me if Neymar can join Chelsea and will you take him? I know a lot of people. I think 1 or 2 years back there was a slight suggestion of Neymar wanting to leave PSG, and Chelsea being one of those clubs with the rich owners. There was obviously a lot of speculation, and I saw a lot of people saying, "No, we don't want Neymar. We don't want Neymar." And I was like, "Holy hell! How can you say no to Neymar?
no. To be fair, it'd be the
All
same.
it's
It'd be the same. We're not that league, but if we were in that league and there was talk of Neymar coming to Leicester, there would be a few comments of saying no, we don't want that type of. I think it might be simply down to the English trait of not liking that side of football. Yeah, you get. I think Eden Hazard example you gave was right. He was too good and late tackles coming in because of his class, and he used to take quite a bit of punishment, like Messi does. But with Neymar, it's just too blatant. It just crosses the line too much for me, and especially when he has the the type of player that he has next to him, Mbappe, who does hardly any of that. It just
again.
stands out. But I think
Again,
with
yeah, I have no clear justification for it, and I'm not a fan of what Neymar does off the ball, but I also feel some sense of sympathy. I've seen he has been yellow carded for a rainbow flick. He tried a rainbow flick, and the referee gave him a yellow card. This is something that has actually happened in his PSG career. So sometimes I think as a player you're like frustrated. This is like the world doesn't want me to go play my football because everybody's just jumping in with tackles. So I have to roll around because that's the only way that fellow's getting a yellow card.
the other one, I'll just say it as well because I said it here to my friends here. I lost a little bit of respect for was Kevin De Bruyne when he played against Leicester and the blatant dive that he got a free kick for. Nobody touched him, but he was screaming for a free kick. And then later on, he was crying out for a yellow card. And I thought, you're better than that, mate. You shouldn't be doing that. Let your footballing do the talking. You don't have to be, such a borderline cheat and things like that. It just, I think we'll have to agree they might be an English trait, and we don't like this.
But
As they
don't
call
English players do it?
it, they get called out. In fact, there's a talk show here on Saturdays. It's the number one football talk show on Five Live, and they actually have a slot every week where they call out the divers, name and shame, as it were, every week to try and they call out Harry. They've called out Harry Kane. You know, the top players, English players. It's just called out. It's just not acceptable here. Um,
I think with Harry Kane more than life, it's been the way he's damaged a lot of players by just leaning onto them
mm.
while they're going for headers. That has been I think a big talked about topic, and that's very dangerous play. And he gets away with it. He's like, oh no, I didn't know anything about it. But it's very clear that he's
Yeah,
been.
he's got a nasty side to him as well. But it's made up for an absolute feast of football with the two semi-finals, Real Madrid against Chelsea, and the Gulf Derby between Qatar and Abu Dhabi in the other one. I'm so looking forward to both of them. But I can see the scarf behind you. Are you conflicted in terms of who you want between Real Madrid and Chelsea?
This is actually a gift from somebody who went to Bernabeu, so I don't want to disappoint him and not display it. But this shall be off my background in a while, and it'll come back after the semi-finals.
But
Clearly,
two.
I mean, there is no confusion. But also, I think I've been very vocal about it. I know a lot of people say about Iniesta, Xavi, and Busquets, but for me, my favorite trio of midfield has always been Casemiro, Modric, and Kroos. I love the way they've dictated midfield for so long, and they continue to do it. They're still so good, and so it'll be strange watching your favorite midfield against your favorite team, but I mean, team always comes first. So you'll be very clear that which team wants to. And it feels like 2012 again. There was no expectation in the early part of the season, but certainly there's this very very small possibility of winning the Champions League and the FA Cup. So
But I
it
think
feels nice.
the way your new manager's starting to set his team out with his strategies, and it was showcased yesterday in the semi-final against Man City. Yeah, you must go in against Real Madrid with quite a bit of confidence.
Um, not really,
No,
because no, not really, because I think City looked a tired side who didn't want to win. I don't think Pep Guardiola went there wanting to win, because why was
really?
somebody like Foden not starting? I always don't think that City's suited for both Rodri and Fernandinho playing. They're two players wasted. I mean, City's strength is attacking. Why is sacrifice Rodri or Fernandinho play Bernardo Silva or play Riyad Mahrez or play Foden? You have all the or Gundogan, all these players sitting in the bench. I was like, hey, this is nice. I'm happy that they're going to sit back a little. They feel threatened by Chelsea. I feel, and I don't think both. And Fernandinho used to be a great player, but I think he's really past it. And Rodri has really not been that exciting uh, ever since he came here. So I thought Pep Guardiola sort of gave it away and made it easy for Chelsea to dominate the proceedings.
I thought
But
Chelsea out-strategized Man City, just didn't
yeah,
let them play.
they did, yeah.
And
I
when you
thought,
talk about Man City, they've got two first teams. I know you named some of the players, but it's a very fine line. Some of these players would walk into most sides.
yeah, true. The fact that Laporte is not even like a starting defender for
Benjamin Mendy.
for Manchester City is just it's staggering squad depth. But nevertheless, no disrespect to Chelsea. I thought they gave it in the first half. Manchester City was hardly touching the
Yeah.
ball. It was like Chelsea were playing like the City.
Mm.
So it was nothing to take away from the fact that Chelsea outsmarted them. But I also feel when you have these kind of attacking resources at your disposal, I don't understand why Guardiola went the safe route. I think probably the occasion. I don't know why he did this, but City should have been more sensible in their starting lineup, I feel.
Yeah, they did have a tough game in the semi-final against Dortmund. First half certainly.
Yeah, very
Um,
draining.
but in terms of
But
the
then you remember the second half when they just like, okay, let's put it to the sixth gear,
yeah
and they just like went crazy.
yeah
And this is what that City team can do, and I don't think they even tried it with Chelsea. So
yeah
it's a little. So that doesn't mean that's what Chelsea can expect against Real Madrid. Real Madrid will be there. They love the Champions League. They just
they
love
do,
winning.
yeah. They seem
So
to save their best football for the Champions League, and it shows by the number of times they've won it. But that is one game I'm definitely looking forward to. But what about the Gulf Derby between Qatar and Abu Dhabi? That is, on paper, awesome two legs to look forward to.
yeah, but don't you think PSG is like the favorite
Not
to?
in England.
Strange because I mean City is definitely a very strong side, but again, it really depends on how on what Pep Guardiola is going to do. I hope he doesn't overthink. I feel that he has a tendency when it comes to big matches, he wants to overcomplicate things. Don't you just let your players go out there and have fun because it's got so much talent, and I don't think I also think Sterling is a little off form. So maybe you need to come up with a clever ploy. Mario should be playing because I think he's one of the most direct players that they have. Bernardo Silva seems to be getting back his form like he was 2 years back. So he's also there. Foden, I think, is one of the best British player out there. So Foden should be playing. Gundogan is, I think, the best midfield connect.
At the
I think he
moment, yeah.
carries the ball so effortlessly and he can score a lot of goals as well. So all these players should be starting, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't go and think that this is going to be a big team, so I need Rodri and Fernandinho and all, then if those guys are going to play, I don't think PSG will have any problem because their front is just with Neymar and Mbappe. Mbappe's pace also is just staggering. It's
It
just
is. It is. The
yeah.
control he has
So
with that pace and what he does with the football with that pace is just another level. But I agree with you, and there is a lot of I know in England, Man City are the favourites to win the Champions League in the last four. And before that, because of the nature of their squad and first team. But I think they're going to find it difficult against PSG. Both teams, this is a trophy that they want. Their owners want this trophy. Pepper said, he'll be a failure if he doesn't win the Champions League. We know managers get sacked winning. I mean, Tuchel won 3 out of the 4 cups with PSG last season and was sacked. So a lot of pressure on both managers, and it'll be interesting to see with Pochettino as well. He's had a bit of experience with getting to the final. Pep, obviously, we know his record.
against Pep,
Sorry.
against Pep. So he did. I mean, that Spurs side played against Manchester City and then qualified for the semis, right? So
Yeah, yeah, and
Pochettino has a
controversial last-minute goal that was disallowed, but they got there. And top two managers coming ahead, top players. I'm really, really looking forward to that. But I'm really looking forward to the game later today. I know your boys have made it to Wembley. It's been a nervous day for me, nervous weekend. Unless I don't know how to describe, but the FA Cup is one dream all Leicester fans have because we've been there to the final. All right, the last one was over 50 years ago, but to get to the final again means so much. And we are going in there as favourites, but it's already, we were talking during the week amongst colleagues and friends who support Leicester that because of the experience we had last season in the semi-final against Aston Villa, where we were, really hard favourites to get to the final there in the Carabao Cup, that we don't want things to go wrong. But it's also the fact that crowds are going to be allowed in. It's one of the test events, so there'll be about 4,000 people there, all from the local community. Uh, as a neutral, how do you see that semi-final? Give me some hope.
Oh, I mean, I'm sure Leicester should be going in as a favourites to definitely make it to the finals because Southampton has been a team struggling. They haven't. I mean, they were quite nice in the initial parts of the Premier League season, but then they've really, lacked the pace or lacked the vision, and unless they just turn it up for that special semi-final performance, I think Leicester are favourites. Again, it really sometimes depends on the mentality, right? Sometimes when it comes to a big pressure match, a lot of teams would be like, maybe we should be cautious. And I don't think it suits a Leicester or the City to be that cautious. I think they play their free flowing football and just believe in their abilities. And looking forward for a blue derby for a final.
Absolutely, and the other thing will be that actual fans will be allowed to the Wembley final, 20,000. So it'll be like winning the lottery if I can. If well, firstly, Leicester get there, and then being able to get the ticket. But another big reason is that today, and I'm just gonna. I don't want to make you feel bad, but it's the first day we're allowed. I am going out. We've been allowed to go to the pub
Wow,
from last Monday, but only outdoors, not indoors, and we have to book tables and things like that. You can't just walk in most of the
that is
places. So
still monumental, I'm sure.
I've booked a table just today, this afternoon, to calm the nerves before the game this evening. So a couple of big events happening today that I'm really looking forward to
Yes.
try and ease the nerves. But yeah,
At
we'll
least we
see.
had a break in between, so it feels nice that throughout Christmas and my birthday and all that, we could do whatever that we were
No,
planning.
this is
So
going to
I
be,
didn't. I personally chose to not do it a lot, but you could obviously. And I did visit the very nice cafe by the beach and all. So I can't really complain. I think this next few months are very crucial for India, so I'm
yeah.
happy we just home. Just sitting tight.
Absolutely, yeah. But this is going to be my first visit out to any sort of hospitality place since last August. So looking forward
My
to that.
God, must be exciting.
Yes, well, more for the calming of the nerves before the big game. So we'll see how it goes. But brilliant. All it's flown by again. I'm just looking at the time, and we've talked a lot again about what's happening around the world of football. So it's been a great catch up. More importantly, hopefully, we can talk more about what happens with Goa in the last game in the same way we talk about the first two games. But just as importantly, please stay safe, yourself and your family. I know things will improve, but hopefully they'll improve very quickly. But thank you again for your time today, my friend.
It's a pleasure. Bye.